All right, friends, this is a surprise video. Even I didn't know I would be making this today. We've got to hook up our trailer, which we're now going to have to unload quickly. We can take the chains with us, but some of that other stuff needs to go. We're gonna buy something that I just happened to see on Facebook Marketplace, and I can't not buy it. So I'll tell you about that right after this. All right, welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and also I'm apparently bad at backing a trailer today. I can't seem to get it hooked up right. Let's see if that stayed. Kept wanting to roll forward there. That'll work. All right, we're gonna pull forward and then we're gonna unload some of this stuff. Like I said, we can keep the chains, but I need to empty these. I got other stuff in these totes that doesn't need to keep riding around. We'll take the tools off and that. I was too tired last night to deal with putting that away, so I just left it lay on the trailer. But we are going to get the very rare and elusive 1250-A Oliver Fiat. I have looked high and low for one. I've only seen maybe a couple come for sale. One of them was actually front wheel assist, and that would have been super rare, but he was way overpriced, and it was in like 6 states away, and that just wasn't going to work. But this one is within an hour's drive, and it's cheap, and everything that's wrong with it I can fix. As a matter of fact, anything that it's missing I'm pretty sure I have on the shelf. So we're gonna go see if we can acquire this. It should easily fit on this trailer. He said he could help load it, and we're gonna make this happen. I saw it on Marketplace this morning after church. I sent him a message. They sent me a phone number. I called him, talked to him. I made him an offer. He said no, but thank you for your offer. And then maybe about 20 minutes later, he calls up and he says, if you have cash today, we'll make it happen. And I said, absolutely. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, we're off. Buddy the dog has sent us happily along our way. He followed to his stopping point and is now turning back around. But we're gonna head down there. It's probably gonna take about 50 minutes to an hour. It'll probably be more than an hour, because I'm probably gonna take not the interstate. I'll take the highway that runs parallel to the interstate, and that's just my style. I'm not an interstate fan any more than I have to be, so that's my plan, and I'll let you or bring you back whenever the crash happens, you know, or whatever interesting thing happens along life's way. But so far it's looking positive, but we all know that can change any second. Well, we're cruising right along here down the highway. I shut the phone off because it kept freaking out that I wasn't taking the interstate, but scenery, you know? Check out your small towns and things along the way. Look at that. Part of this adventure is, you know, the thrill of the chase. It's the same feeling that those billionaires probably get after a long day of hunting man. But at any rate, it might take a few minutes longer, but we're not working the truck and stuff at, you know, top speed and all that kind of thing. I just, it's a more gentle pace, and I like that. So we will keep making our way, and hopefully no pieces fall off of our rig, and hopefully we can find this place and then go from there. So we shall see. Well, part of our leg has to be on the interstate, and I wish I'd have had the camera out sooner, because right as I got on, there's an old crawler on a trailer. So I wonder if that guy's been at Rantoul and heading back home, or if he found a Marketplace find he couldn't resist. I doubt that I'll be able to catch it. It's just right up there, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get a ticket or cause an accident just to see something. Well, we're almost there. 0.7 miles, and I got to turn. But it says I'll be there in 3 minutes. So we'll see how that works out. I better put you down again so I don't lose my, miss my turn. So, well, we're leaving here. We're up in the high country, if you can't tell. I mean, that drops off to pretty far down there if you don't stay on his driveway. But we got the little horse loaded up. It's slightly rougher than in the pictures. I mean, overall it's not too bad, but there's things I noticed in person that I didn't notice in the pictures. But where are you gonna find another one of these close by and cheap? Probably not. So at any rate, we may get off here in a minute and you know what I'm saying, we might stop and get out and look, you know, make sure everything stays tight after we do this first leg of stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, we made the first leg of the trip. Should probably retighten that chain. It's a little farther forward than I wanted it, but the rest of the trip is going to be highway, so at any rate, we'll look at it closer when we get home. It was too far over to one side, so the new come-alongs came in handy because I actually was able to winch it over where it's better on there. So I don't know. I'll tighten this chain real quick and then I'm gonna have me something to eat. This one doesn't have the woke logo yet, so I might be in good shape. I don't know. Well, we're on the road again, as Willie Nelson would say. And I don't know if I'd call this halfway home, but at least we're headed in that direction. So hopefully nothing falls off. Hopefully the truck keeps up the good work, and yeah, if we can get to the driveway, we'll be set. Buddy the dog, what are you thinking, pal? You're used to me coming home with something on the trailer, aren't you? So here it is in all its glory, a 1250-A, made 1 year, 1969 only. And you're gonna ask, what is this thing? Well, I will explain. I'm gonna hop up here and take a look. It's odd how the rust pattern has happened on it. I mean, I wonder if it had a fire in the nose at one time or something. I don't know. That's kind of bizarre. Looking at the tag, 125, so it should be the real deal. And what it is, you know how in school they taught you about evolution and the missing link? Well, essentially, this is the missing link between these two tractors right here. So the 1250 regular, no dash A, was the first variation. The 1250 and the 1450. And I've said this enough, but this ended up to be garbage. Like, it just wasn't super reliable. The gas one had a military surplus engine from who knows what war in Italy, and parts availability was not very good almost when they were new. But from here back, basically it wasn't too bad of a little tractor. So the 1250 and the 1450, after they started to get some negative stuff going on about them, That's when they came up with the 1250A, which is essentially what these are, that these became later. The 1365 is just a bigger size. A 1255 would have been the next one in the progression, but basically 1255, 1355, and then 1265, 1365, and then the 70s, 1270, 1370, are all essentially this same tractor, with the exception of the 12s are a 3-cylinder, the 13s are a 4-cylinder. And this design was the top, I mean, a good design. It lasted until the end, and it was copied years later, you know, and they made them as UTVs and longs, and Alice Chalmers made some, and so this design was the design that worked. And so that's what this is right here. This is one of those, the missing link piece. Now, as previously stated, I am disappointed with myself. I was a little starry-eyed and excited, and I didn't realize that it does have some more rough stuff. For example, the threaded rod, when the other end is all thread, as a tie rod, is probably not a good thing. You know, that's not gonna work. But hopefully I hope that parts 1365, I'm hoping that those things will fit right on here. And if they don't, and I have to come up with other things, so be it. But the story that I got is as such. I bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy, and he was the one that told this guy what was wrong with it, and supposedly it needs a clutch. And this guy that I bought it from said now he couldn't get it running because the starter wouldn't spin it fast enough to make her go. Well, that ain't no problem, friends, because I got a brand new starter for one of these right behind me that I ordered when I was working on that other one, trying to find something that would fit. So that ain't no big deal. We're gonna have that just fine. But what we will do is, when we get this off the trailer, we'll sort of go over it and probably change the fuel system, make it more better right away, prime it up, clean fuel, that sort of thing, and then we will attempt to start it. We can just throw that starter on right away. There's another thing that's not kosher. It's got a homemade throttle rod. It makes you wonder why things get to be the way that they are, you know? In the case of these little Fiats, it seems to me like by the time I find them, somebody else who didn't really know what they were doing has messed with them, and they end up so cobbled up because people just don't understand them. And that's unfortunate because they're really not that difficult to understand. It's just that you got to understand every bolt on it is metric. I strapped the hood down. All with stuff that I bought yesterday at that auction. And today I'm already using it. So it paid for itself. Let's see though here. Actually, I bet what made that rusty, oh, that's not even, holy crap. We pulled that down the interstate with none of that bolted in there. Ah, wow. Okay, that's fine. I bet somebody had the nose off and laying to the side at some point, and that's why it got rustier, or maybe it was in a shed out to this point. I don't know. But it definitely, I would say it definitely is the nose that came off of here. It's not like we switched it. 3-cylinder. Of course, the wiring is all cobbled up. Why wouldn't it be? So we get to work on more Fiat wiring. Yay! But now we have the knowledge of what we're doing. But just look at all this cobbled up stuff, people. It just, I know life happens, but it just seems like the poor little Fiats, they take the brunt of it, you know. People just don't understand. So Any coolant in there? I didn't imagine that there was. That's stuff for the Will It Run video. Right now we're just giving you an overview of it. Okay, let's get to the other side. The headlights, somebody moved up here, but luckily those are the original headlights and the original brackets, so we can put them back on the fender where they belong. I wanted to check the oil is where I was at. It still has, does it have, yeah, it still has the original alternator. That's good. It has oil in it. Doesn't look terrible. It's not the prettiest, but we're gonna need a voltage regulator probably, if that works. This floorboard is leaving the chat for some reason because it's come unhooked from the fender. That piece is rotten. I wonder if that piece is good on the parts 1365. And it'll be, I don't know, we'll find out. But she's just not all cobbled up too bad in a lot of ways. There's a lot of good going for it. If this is to be believed, it's got 5,500 hours on it, which is a lot, but maybe not so much. Somebody, I don't know what somebody did there. Why would they weld that? We're gonna have to look and see what the original was like. If it's like the 1365, I might swap levers. But this one appears to have the, I might be wrong on that. I was gonna say, does this one have the 3-position one? Some of them had where you could do like ground drive. Yes, it does. Put it in this way, it runs off the engine. Put it in that way, it runs off of the transmission. And then, you know, whatever, works accordingly. It makes me kind of nervous that this is loose. I'm wondering what has taken place here. If somebody was going to try to go in here. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, no. Okay, don't freak out. This is essentially the same transmission as that 1250. And I learned from driving it that not all is what it seems. It is not a true H pattern in the fact that when you go down, you can't pull it straight back up. You have to come over and come up to get out of it. So that's just another quirk I learned along life's way with them. That's been cobbled up, the remote valve thing. But I might have another one of those. See, that's the thing. If anybody had to have this, it needs to be me, because I've got almost everything that it's going to take to put her back together correctly. I mean, I've got it laying around here. So that's a win, you know? But essentially, this is a crossbreed between the early one and the later style that continued on forever, with just different refinements along the way. And that's the point. And they only made it 1 year, 1969. And like I was going to say earlier, looking at the serial number of it, let's see if we can, it's 306962, and I think that the last serial number was 309. So it's probably right in the middle. I don't have my phone here handy, so I can't do that. But 1 year is all they made the 1250-A, and this is it. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's even got like these are not mangled up. A lot of the other Fiats that I've brought home, this kind of stuff's mangled up. It's just got a lot going for it. Despite its flaws, I think I can make her go. Especially if it runs good, we're good to go. And the thing is, this motor is not likely to have the flywheel of death like the 13 size, because they didn't use the separate handle clutch. The 2-stage is all in the foot clutch. So you probably won't have that problem on one of these. But yeah, I'm gonna go grab something here, and I'll bring you right back. Well, that's slightly more better, isn't it? Crazy Ross's Parts Warehouse is slowly running out of Fiat grills. I've got a good bottom insert in that one, but the grill shell is junk, the bottom. This grill is decent-ish, but as I look at it now, it's ripped. So I don't know if it's worth pursuing. The bars being bent's no big deal because we would saw those out. But since it's ripped, I might just go ahead and order another new one like I did on that other one, and then saw the bars out of that. I mean, I'll still save this grill, and I've got another blue one that's a little bit rougher that we saved from the junkyard. That's the kind of stuff you put on a tractor that you don't keep and send down the road just so it's got something better than nothing. But top inserts, I'm very low on. And it sucks because just a few weeks ago, there was one for sale on the internet that had a good, excellent top insert in it. And I think it's already sold. So I sent the guy a message. We'll see how that turns out. But buy it when they're available, not when you need it. Because when you need it, you won't find it. That's what's happening to me right here, right now. But I think that we did okay. I mean, time will tell. It probably needs a clutch, and who knows, maybe the transmission's junk too. But where are you going to find another one of these? Not very often. 1 year only. I don't know how many they made. The serial numbers start at like, well, I can look that up because I had it right here. It's the serial numbers start at 305,985, and this one is 306,000 something. So it's one of the earlier ones, really. And then they ended with 309,000. So if they made one for everything, then that's however many that is. But maybe they didn't use all the numbers. I don't know. Whatever. And like I said, I do know they've made these as front wheel assists as well. But it's got a lot going for it. It caught my eye. It's the kind of thing that I like, about the kind of condition I like. I can do whatever I want with this and be confident that I'm not destroying value, because it was basically left for dead as well. I looked in the parts books real quick, and the tie rods are the same as the 1365, so hopefully I can pull them off that parts one. Maybe I'll decide it's just easier to just buy the new ones. They're like $100 and some bucks a piece, so I'd have $250 in tie rods. But if it was a good tractor, would that really matter? I figured out finally what's wrong here. This is dished backwards. Why would they do such a thing? I don't know. Somebody must have mounted the tire on backwards and realized it too late, and then they switched it around maybe. So if I wanted to keep it, I could, in theory, just flip the center around and whatever, but then my valve stem on this one would be on the inside, and my valve stem on that one would be on the outside. And that would be kind of weird to have one on in and one on out. Also, this tractor has the spacers between the wheel center and the back wheel. So there's that. And I don't know that I've seen them on a regular 1250. Let's just do a field trip. That tractor does not have them. That tractor does not have them. That Heritage tractor does not have them. But the parts tractor does have them. Yeah, see, they're just mounted flush to the right to the hub. But basically what they do is they bolt to the tractor, and then they have another set of bolt holes in between, and that's what actually bolts to your wheel. And they just offset your center so you can get a little bit more. I was going to pull them off of that parts tractor, and I can't remember why I gave up. There's some, I don't know if they wouldn't come loose, or there was some reason, but before I chucked the parts tractor out in the forever pile, I wanted to pull those off of it. But sweet. So hopefully in the next few days I will get a free minute and we can attempt to get this started, because I bet I can make it run. I mean, he said it just wouldn't spin over fast enough, and I got a new starter. So if I slap that new starter on here and we try her, then I bet we can get it to come to life. But we do need to make sure on this one that we check first and make sure that that oil pressure light is working, so that we don't have a repeat of what happened to that Heritage tractor, where we found out that it wasn't really getting all the oil pressure that it should have, And so now we don't know what kind of shape it's in, but at any rate, I'm happy with my little purchase here. I don't have a lot of money in it, but I think we've got a lot of value for our money, and it's going to look neat next to the others because it's one that I didn't have, and it's getting harder to find ones that I don't have without driving much far away, you know. But it's okay. I can drive an hour to go get a toy. It'll be interesting to see if that tire will hold. Oh, that's actually tubeless, isn't it? That's why it's flat. Yeah, we're gonna undo that. We're going to get a tube and put in there, because tubeless tires, not for me, because when the rims start to get just a little bit rusty, you fight stuff like that all the time. It's not worth it for me. Put a tube in it and be done with it. We'll take that off maybe and clean up the inside. This outside I might try to spray that Rust-Oleum stuff on, and I might try to do that with all this too. This wheel center. Did they paint the inside crappily? I don't know that that will clean up very good, but it's got some pretty decent meat on it, really. We could pop that off potentially. Spin it around. It looks like that valve stem's leaking, but it looks like it's not rotted out anything, so we could make that more better along life's way. This one's the same way. It's getting rusty, but it's not beyond repair. I mean, but we'll probably leave that alone until it goes totally sadness. You know, why would we mess with a good thing? We'll never. Looking at these, I bet those won't come loose very good anymore. We'll have to take them off the center to get them soaked and freed up. The way these work compared to other tractor brands, you just tighten this nut up on these things and it wedges them out. Other tractor brands had like quarter turn locks and stuff, which are fine, but then they would also mess up too, so it's not a, yeah. I could just ramble forever. I like tractors and I like talking about tractors, and this is a tractor. So I want to save some stuff for the other video when we start to try to get it to run. So I think we're going to leave this one here. But as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.